Let's take a look at the amazing things you can do with a speedlight and no modifier today. So today we're shooting with nothing but speedlights. I'm going to go over some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years in using these. I'm using the Sony brand speedlights and the Sony remote. I love these speedlights because they are pretty much brainless. They do so well. I think this entire shoot that you're about to see, one picture was blown out and the rest were perfect. That's really impressive to me. Now, I use the plus and minus in the different situations. So I didn't shoot just in the studio today. I shot everywhere around the building, outside, a little warm. I'm a little toasty right now, but it was a fun shoot. And we got a lot of photos in a lot of different areas that should be, really good. So the majority of the shoot is with one speed light. That's the Sony HVL 60 RM2. I love this speed light. This is incredible. When I'm shooting, more vertical photos, I can just turn this. Now, I'm also going to go over when to use this diffuser on the front and when not to, because really the light doesn't change the quality other than it's more specular without, less specular with. And if the person you're shooting has, like a shinier skin or they have shinier objects on them, I like to keep this on. If not, I like to take it off. And or if I need more power, like when I was outside, I took this off to get more power out of it. Other than that, most of the time I leave it on for those non-specular type highlights. Because most people have like either jewelry on or, they use the highlighter on their face, which this can create havoc with. So if you diffuse it just a little bit, doesn't make it softer, it just diffuses the light, less specular. That's when I use this. The lens I'm using and camera, the Sony a7R5 and the Sony 135. Probably one of my favorite lenses that Sony ever put out. I'm not huge on compression. I'm not huge on big lenses like this, but I haven't shown it on this channel yet. So I figured I'll show it and show you what it can do. Anyway, let's get into the shoot and I'll go over everything. If you have any questions, leave them below as always. Thanks for watching.
Well, if you watch this channel at all, you know how much I love using speedlights. It's just a quick run and gun setup that I absolutely love. Now, this first image, I'm an ISO 64 f4.5. That background is dark and dingy. It has no warmth to it. It's not a bad image. She does pop off the photo, obviously, because of her. But to warm this up and to bring more of that ambient light that you see against the wall back there, I'm going to take the ISO up to 400 and open up the lens wide open to 1.8. Now, this is going to add a little bit more light to the image and to the back wall. And you see here, like, it's warmer as well, but there's no shadow because she's that distance away from the wall. The other way to do this to even bring that wall out more, versus taking up the ISO to like 800, is to move her closer to the backdrop. It's that inverse square law, which I'm not going to go into it because it's too technical. It really doesn't matter. The gist of it is move her closer to the wall or to the backdrop, and it'll add more light to the backdrop. Now, this is obviously adding that shadow on the backdrop because she's closer to the backdrop, which I don't mind. It doesn't bother me at all. If anybody's looking at that versus your model, you're doing something wrong anyway. But you can put that flash more on axis with the model and your lens, and it'll hide the shadow behind her a little bit more. It's still there on the right side, as you can see, because I have to shoot past the pole. But again, if anybody's noticing that, work on your image more than worrying about the shadow. Now, keeping it on axis when she's against the wall, closer to the wall like this, is going to be flat lighting. You're still going to get some shadow underneath her chin and so forth, but it's still really flat lighting, and she doesn't pop at all. It's kind of a boring image when you do something like this. There's really nothing here to say, ooh, I love that. It's just, it's flat. So this is when shadow is going to be your friend when using a speedlight like this. Adding the shadow is going to give her depth and pull her off the image and give you more of that 3D look because of the shadow. I love that shadowy look in these types of situations. I'm not looking at the shadow on her left. I'm looking at her 100%. And that shadow underneath the chin, again, is bringing out her face more and taking your focus to the face. So again, if you don't like that shadow look, keep them away from the wall, pull them away from the wall. And like in that first image where I moved her closer, if you didn't want to move her closer because of the shadow, all I could do is bump up that ISO again to ISO 640 or something like that, or 800. Now, this one here, you see the two wooden posts here. The one closer to me is darker, which would be the ideal post to use because it wouldn't pick up the light as much. But I have that art piece there in between that first and second post, which would distract from the image. So I put her against this lighter post. And as you'll see, that lighter post definitely, it just pulls your attention away from her. She's not standing out nearly as much as I would want. So all I'm going to do is move that light over. It still hits the post, but I'm going to use her body to shadow it. So it takes down the light off of that lighter wood and puts the light on her. Now, you can see because of the shadowing, with the light position, she's popping off the image quite a bit more, and you still get that 3D look. So little things like this, they make a world of difference. And I don't want to go into post-processing and take down that wood. I want to do it with the light while I'm shooting because it's so much easier and you get such much better images out of it. Now, that light up at the top of the stairs, that's not going to play in effect whatsoever because I'm shooting at an angle where it won't come into the image. Now, I have the light on her pretty much straight, but I'm just a little bit off to the right. And you see the right side of the image where it's just dark. A little bit of light's coming through, but I need more off of that. So I'm just going to angle myself a little bit more to bring the lighter wall in and the light to come out just a little bit more. I didn't change any of the settings. I just kept them where they were and moved. Move yourself, move the light, move the model. These little tiny tweaks mean everything for images like this. Play with it and have fun with it. There's shadow here, but it's softer, because the light was a little bit closer. Now, this last image here in the building, there's really nothing to this. The light is maybe 20 degrees off to my right, and it just creates a beautiful image. I don't know what else to say about that. So here, that hallway, you see how light it is in that hallway because of the bulbs? I want to bring that out. So this first image, this isn't a bad image. She does stand out, but she doesn't stand out nearly as much as I want. I want warmth to this image. I want to open it up more. So I'm going to take the ISO up again from 400 to 640. I'm still wide open at 1.8, 1/25th of a second, and you can see the difference in this. One speed light, open it up, and you're going to get this kind of look. You just have to play with this and learn your lighting. Now, this first image that you see on the screen now, that's with the diffuser on it, and it has no pop. Her skin has no pop. So I'm going to take the diffuser off to bring out the specular highlights in her skin. That'll give her skin and her overall more pop, more, a better look. It's not perfect to me, but it's just a nicer image with that specular highlight, kicking in. Because I'm competing against a very bright sun and a very bright, truck on her left side, on our left side, her right side. Now, taking her into the shade, obviously this is going to be a lot easier. Again, Sony TTL, this is why I pick Sony flashes or Nikon flashes. They work for me. I've tried ProPhoto in TTL on the Sony. I've tried Godox and TTL on the Sony. I don't get nearly the accuracy as I do with a Sony flash. And the skin tones are always spectacular with a Sony flash. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know the science. I don't care about the science. But this straight TTL, and I didn't go to high-speed sync. I just wanted to use, I was staying at 1/25th. I didn't want to deal with any kind of banding or anything like that. So for me, this is the look. I love it. And again, it's because of these flashes. I know people bitch a lot about the pricing and AA batteries. I don't care. Honestly, light is the most important thing in photography. Spend your money where you need to spend it. Lenses, light. Anyway, so I added a second flash into this. I'm using the Magmod MagGrid, because I didn't want that light coming into it. And I'm just using the straight flash again with the diffuser back on. Loving the look of it. I think it can be pulled out a little bit more from the backdrop, but I don't mind it. She has dark hair, so, I could have turned up that backlight just a little bit or added it to the left side, versus the right side, which I'll do later, so you can see the difference. But I'm going to bring in the just a bounce reflector on the white side, and just try to pull in a little bit more light on that right side, which I think is going to help just a little bit. Now, I'm also going to use this. Now, this is, this reflector is a little bit of expensive. I think it's a Manfrotto reflector, lasso light reflector. You can use any reflector, it doesn't matter. But now I'm going to bounce that Speedlight into the reflector to give it a bigger, wider kind of look. And I'm going to move the backlight to the opposite side. I'll show you it first on this side because both lights are on this side now. But moving it to the other side is going to bring her out quite a bit, because you're going to see on the left side of the image, it's going to be very, I don't want to, it loses the definition because of her hair. She has dark hair, and you want to bring out that definition. So having both lights on one side is not going to work for me the way I want it to look. You can see it on that left side how dark it is. So I'm just going to move that over to the right, pump it up just a little bit because it's, extremely dark on that side. I'm going to take it up probably to 1/32, which isn't a lot, but no, I'm sorry, I apologize, 1/16. But I'm still using TTL in the main flash, believe it or not, and it works. So that's it lit quite a bit more. It gives that edge light. I probably could have taken it down just a little bit, but I still like the end look. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this shoot. It was a lot of fun. If you have any questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching as always. This was a blast. And she's a blast to shoot. She really does make me look good. Your subject means a lot, but you can make anybody look good. So just practice, have fun with this. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to ask.